Hey Zoom family, I'm here today with Zess Barbara Klontz who lives in Colorado, but she does trainings everywhere from where? Indiana, North Dakota?
Pretty much, yeah.
Everywhere in the upper mid-northwest area.
If you're, in the Midwest or the sort of west-west, I'll see ya.
But if you go out to convention, you should take her sessions. I've taken her stuff. I discovered her in 2014 convention when I took Cueing Like a Pro. No, that was I took the Zen Volumes and Custom Choreo.
Yes.
And we took that and fell in love with her. I was like, oh my gosh, she's amazing. I just love the way she moves, everything about her style and everything, so we were addicted. In 2015 convention, we took Cueing Like a Pro, got to meet her amazing husband, so wish he was here. He was like the coolest guy in the world. So you know she's cool too. And then this year convention, I'm going to be taking 2 more sessions with her. Absolutely love her. But you've been doing this for quite a while now. When did you first become a Zumba instructor?
I took my training in November of 2005.
Okay.
And I did my first training as a Zess in November 2006.
So how long were you an instructor before you actually tried to out to become a Zess?
I was a fitness instructor since 1992. So fitness for 23 years, personal trainer for 23 years, and then I was a Zumba instructor for a year before Zess. So a Zumba instructor now 11 years, Zess for 10.
What were you doing before Zumba as far as, were you doing kind of dance cardio formats or?
Yeah, I was teaching kickboxing and I was doing a little hip hop and mostly weight training. My biggest classes were my toning classes.
Oh wow.
So
some people love, Zumba toning. There are people who just hardcore love it.
yes.
It's amazing. I mean, some you don't hear enough about, but it's a great format if you haven't done it. So what was about, how did you discover Zumba and what drew you into it?
Well, I was the fitness director at a club in Chicago, and if you know Zess Debbie Wood, she was one of my instructors. We heard about this new class called Zumba, and she was teaching Latin aerobics for us.
Oh, wow.
So our company paid for her to go to take the training and for me to go so I could be her sub. And so we took it together, and we got hired as Zesses together, and we worked for 2 years as a Zess team. Hi, Debbie.
So, but you also teach multiple specialties. What all do you teach?
I teach Basic 1, Basic 2, Toning, Gold, Jumpstart Gold, and Pro Skills.
Wow, that's a lot. Which is your favorite of all of them? You just love to teach the most.
It's hard to pick a favorite. So like B1 is amazing because I get to see the students' eyes light up. Basic 2 is fun because people come in who are sort of worn down or tired of teaching, and I get to see them, like, their passion reignite.
Yeah.
Pro Skills is probably one of my favorites because I've been teaching nonverbal cueing for Zumba since 2009. So I just love that class. And then Toning is amazing because I get to use my brain. And Gold is so much fun. It's just an amazing format, and I teach a Gold class every single week. We go out to breakfast together, and they're like my little heart and soul. So
yeah, and don't be fooled by Gold. Gold is not old. It is definitely.
Gold is bold.
Let's just say, just because you slow the movements down doesn't mean you're not working. You're going to feel the burn, definitely. So take the Gold training too. It will help you add things to your regular classes. So another important thing, B1. Just shout out to B1 training. As a Zen member, you can take it again for 50% off. And it is great to take again a second time because the first time you take it, it's so overwhelming that day. You think, oh my God, 8 hours, I'm gonna die. When you take it the second time, you're like, piece of cake. But you get the refinement on things you missed. You notice so much you didn't catch the first time, and then kind of all sinks in. So it's a definite worthwhile investment.
And on your e-learning page, there's a Basic 1 review. So what I love to recommend to people is to take your Basic 1 review about every 6 months and just refresh. We all forget things, we all accidentally change things. So, and then come back to Basic 1 when you really want to perk yourself up.
And there's also a lot of refinements they do to B1 over the years too. I mean, we've changed some of the style of movements. Like for example, now with the cumbia front and back step, we no longer tell people to dig their heels in or wind it anymore. Now it's like keep the foot flat and make the hip motion in the hip, not in the foot. So there's refinements to help you not injure people. So you should take it and look at it from time to time. So when you became a Zess, since you haven't been teaching for a while as instructor in other formats, how do you think becoming a Zess changed you as an instructor when you're in front of people?
I used to be an introvert. I used to be really shy. And one of the reasons I was so excited to work with Beto was he could engage a crowd like I had never seen. And what he did scared me. And it's sort of like, I wanted to be able to do it, but I wasn't sure that I could. So I think the biggest thing was like managing people and getting people together and getting them excited and getting control of their emotions, making them happy, getting them to calm down, and just making a group like lighten up and have a good time when they're sort of scared and intimidated.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was definitely my favorite
But
part.
once you get that, it just changes everything. It makes it so much more fun. Can't wait to teach another class again. After you took the pro skills training, what was that like for you? Because did you take it as to learn it first, or did you say, oh, there's a new zest option, I'm going to go take this, and did you learn it then? How did you get into pro skills?
When Pro Skills came out, Zumba, every year we have a Zest meeting. So all the Zests from around the world get together. We spend a week together. We go over all the formats. And so when it was brand new, they put it out there and said, every single Zest will take it, and you're doing it today. So we took it, and I was like, oh my gosh, I love this.
It's like mind explosion for you?
It was. I've been teaching nonverbal cueing at convention since 2009. I wrote the program. And for me, it was like that, plus be an inspiration times 100 on steroids, and then a little bit of crack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what they say about pro skills. It's like no matter what level you are as an instructor, everybody goes up by 10 just by taking it.
Absolutely.
And it's definitely it's a training it's worth taking multiple times. I mean, I've taken it twice now, and I'm looking to take it again later this year. I think I want to take it every 2 years because there's so much you forget out of it, because it's a lot of information to take in one day.
Yeah.
But then you can absorb it so much more the next time you take it, and then you start exercising those skills, and your classes will notice. They will tell you something's different, you're so much better, what happened, and it's worth every penny.
Well, and unlike like basic 1 or 2 or the specialties, Pro Skills actually personalizes the day. We go over your skills as an instructor, and then you mark out the skills that you most want to work on. And then those are the parts of the day where you really pay attention, you get to focus, you get a lot of personal reflection. So it's our only training that really personalizes to you and your needs. And think about every time you come back to Pro Skills, you're going to have different needs.
Oh yeah.
You get to be better at cueing, but now you need to control the energy better. You get to control the energy better, but now you have issues maybe with how you're managing the front of the room, or what you're doing before class, or your marketing has slipped. There's always something to come back and focus on.
So I tell people who I've met them taking B1, they should plan out to take Pro Skills as probably their next training. You know, before they take B2 or anything, it's going to help them a lot more.
Yes.
What would you recommend as far as time-wise for a new instructor? How long of a gap do you think people should really take before they start moving into that?
You know, every instructor is different. I think in the first 6 months to a year that you've been teaching, it's time to go to Pro Skills.
Yeah.
I would say Pro Skills is something you need to take a minimum of 2 times. So 6 months to a year, and then like 2 or 3 years down the road, come and take it again. You've got to get your skills sort of started, and then to pepper them with new skills, and then practice those, and then pepper them with new. It's a really good way to grow.
Yeah, it's like the first thing is you have to get comfortable just being in front of people. But when you make that jump from front row to being in front of the people, that's scary. So once you get over that, Pro Skills is definitely where you want to go.
Definitely.
What do you recommend to new instructors to help them develop their own style?
Oh, it's such a good question. I say go to as many classes as you can. My style, I'm really animated, my face is animated, I like to interact with people, and that's, and a little bit like sexy.
Yeah.
It's part Gina, it's part Tony Witt, it's a little bit of like Marcy, and a little bit of some of the jammers like Katie Moore and Courtney Ackerman. It's just, when I go to people and I see what they're doing, and I see what lights me up as a student, then I try to watch that when they're teaching. Just I pick one skill, I watch. Then I take it to my class. It doesn't look the same, it has to be me. So I try it out, maybe it works, maybe it doesn't, maybe I tweak it. But the best way to enhance your own skill is to go to instructors. Not only take note of what you love, but take note of what doesn't work for you.
Yeah.
That's really important to notice what doesn't work for you as an instructor, because then you can also bring that lesson into your class as well.
That's one of the reasons why I go to so many jam sessions, because it is all instructors. So, but you get to be a student among instructors. And there's so many movements you do in there that maybe don't work for you, but you see the way other instructors move, and you get ideas. You're like, okay, I can move that way. I'm going to start doing it like that now. Then you really start to develop your style that way just by watching the way other people do things, and it just kind of clicks all of a sudden naturally.
Yes.
I also recommend doing, for me personally, every time I get a Zen volume, I do each class, the live class and the one-on-one. I force myself to do it 2 times each, just as my own little private personal class, because you don't know what you're going to connect with, or
Yes.
what you're going to pick up from, or you might find a combo or something that works the choreo you're having trouble with, and just plug that in, and now boom, it's magic for you.
Yeah, I always watch both parts of the choreo. Sometimes I fall in love with one version, but I always check the other version just in case. If I watch a song and I don't care for it, I watch both versions anyway. If I really don't care for it, then I sort of put my Zen songs into 3 parts. I love it, totally gonna use it. And I sort of like it, I might use it, and no way, no. So, and then I work on the first 2 categories first, and then often I'll go back to my no category like months or even a year later and find something that I love, and it's a jewel and I just missed it.
Yeah, for some reason it clicks later. So I know that burlesque is one of your favorite things you like to do, and one of your rhythms that you like to bring into your class because of other things you teach on the side. What is another rhythm that people could usually expect to see in your classes that you're just drawn to?
Ooh, that's a hard one. I stick to the 4 core rhythms pretty strongly. You're always going to see merengue, salsa, cumbia, reggaeton in my class. I think, well, right now it's cumbia. Like right now,
Yeah.
I'm like all about cumbia, but for the last year, it's been all about salsa.
Yeah.
So honestly, I just sort of pick one, and that's what I focus on for a little while. Yeah, it's sort of, I don't know, you change every year, and you got to go with that.
It's like for me, salsa was the one thing I didn't click with, and then I started listening to a lot of Victor Manuel stuff.
Yes.
And his stuff is tricky. There's it's a lot of weird syncopation, and things are not always on the same beat, so it's a challenge for me, and that's what drew me into it. Now I'm just in love with all his music, and I just want to do all of it in my class.
Well, it's funny, when I hear other people talk about my class, like my students, they'll say, go to Barb's class, she always does legs, she does a lot of squats, and she always does arms. So I make sure I get my 30%, and when I notice for my students, it really stands out. I get that 30% muscle fitness in, and it stands out really high because we always do one song of just squats, because that's what Beto does. When I take classes with Beto in Miami, he does his warm-up, his cool-down, his whole run, but the song before the cool-down is just kill 'em squats or kill 'em legs. And that's what you'll always find in my class.
And then you appreciate that cool down so much more. Yes. Are there any rhythms that you haven't really explored that you're drawn to that you really want to start adding into what you bring to the class?
Yeah, Dembao. I really want to check out Dembao. I'm still, I feel like I look like a giraffe when I do that, but I'm hoping someday I'll look cool.
It's one of those rhythms I haven't clicked with yet either, but I'm starting to hear songs because as it's starting to get more common here in the stuff we get, I'm starting to find things that I'm drawn into. So maybe I'll get there too. Where do you typically find inspiration for your classes to keep them fresh? Because after a while as an instructor, we all start to gravitate towards a certain thing. But where do you go and look to okay, I need to just find some new things to bring?
Honestly, I go back to Zen. I either go back to Zen or I go to a jam session. Those are the 2 places I always go. Whenever I'm feeling low, I either need to take a training, I need to go to someone else's class in the community who I really respect, or I need to take a jam session. I just need to be in the presence of someone else who does things that I love, because then it reminds me of why I do this job. And it sort of sparks me to do it better, and it reminds me, okay, these are the things that you were slacking on, and it's time to get your ass back in gear.
That's what it takes sometimes. So do you typically do your own choreo, or do you like to take your choreography from other people and use it in your class?
My class is about 50-50. Yeah, I do my own choreo, but first I get almost everything from Zen or from other instructors or jam sessions. And honestly, I only do my own choreo when I'm inspired by a song.
Yeah, sometimes you hear a song and you hear it, you see it in your head, and you're like, well, that's something that's going to work because that's what I feel like.
Yes.
Now, since you've been doing this for so long, you've been with Zumba for over 10 years, what do you do to avoid burnout? Because I'm sure there's times where you're like, oh, okay, it's time to do something different.
Yeah.
There's only so many salsa steps I can do. But
Yes.
what do you do to keep from getting burnout?
It's all about being part of a community. So for me, traveling and doing the trainings helps. Because I get to meet new people, I get exposed to things, but what I do when I travel is I go to a new class in the area where I am. So it's about being part of the community, going to master classes, going to other people's classes. I think as instructors, we don't often get to be students. And it's really important. It's like I want a doctor who's been a patient. right? I want them to understand where I am in my site. I want my students to feel like I know where they are. So I take a training, I take a jam session, I take a class, I go to a master class, whatever I can do to get exposed to people who are happy and excited.
Yeah, that's for me. Convention does that every year because I get the chance to see a lot of people present at such a much higher level. And I know whenever I go to those trainings, I look like such an idiot in the background because I'm the person that's like off rhythm, stumbling around, trying to figure out what they're doing, but I'm not really trying to, I understand what they're doing, I'm just trying to watch how are they doing it?
You're learning.
How is that footwork working? When are you cueing that exactly? What's the timing on that? I mean, I'm counting the steps as they're doing them, and that's what I'm picking up from it. And then I go back and I bring it to my classes, and that's, so yeah, convention for me resets me every year. I'm like, all right, I'm ready to go. I want to pick up 500 classes now, so.
The two things I've started doing lately is I do, every week I go out to lunch with some of my students after a class.
Oh, that's good.
And it's nice just to be with them in a way that isn't as instructor and just to relax and make friendships. But also getting a group of instructors together and going out together, going for lunch, going for dinner. Pick instructors who you know don't gossip or don't talk badly about people. You want positive people.
Yeah.
But it's a great way to spend an evening and you can talk about what you love about your job and it sort of reignites you to go out and be amazing tomorrow.
Yeah, you know, and that's another thing is as an instructor, when you learn some pro skills, people see you differently. You forget. You think, oh, I'm just a Zoom instructor. But when you walk into a place you teach, if you don't really have that personal friendship with people, just this kind of social friendship, you're this rock star when you walk in. They think that you're this magic person that's got some skills that, you know, God specifically gave to you. And it's, you know, so it's good to connect with people like that. You know, especially not for anything bad, but you know, it almost kind of gives you a little bit of an ego boost, you know, because you start to see, oh my God, these people really like me for this, you know, and so it's really kind of a cool thing.
It's nice,
and then could you put more back into your classes that way?
Yeah, we've started doing, we've been every 3 months going line dancing, my class. And I just invite everybody, we do one line dance over 3 months in the class. And then at the end of those 3 months, we go out to the club and we have a night, we just throw down and then we party the rest of the night. And whoever wants to come comes. It's a great way to connect with like the whole room.
Oh yeah, and then you all walk in and just take over the club, so it's even more fun. So what is one thing that you see a lot of instructors do that you wish you could just go fix?
You know what? I think it's confidence. Bringing a song that they're not confident about to class, or not being confident in their own skills, or almost wanting to apologize for themselves in class. It hurts my heart to see people not believe in themselves. I don't care if it's good, bad, or indifferent. Do it like it's amazing, like it's fabulous. I was out on a family reunion, and my cousin got very, very drunk, very, very drunk. And she was stumbling around. She falls down on the ground, and she looks up and she goes. And that's, you know, that, yeah.
I meant to do that.
It's been like a moment for me that I always remember. Whenever you stumble, do it with style and do it with confidence. It doesn't matter that you're wrong. Like, we're all wrong. What matters is how you recover.
Yeah.
How quickly, how well, how strongly. So, and you can't do that without confidence. So don't ever apologize for yourself unless you did something wrong. But don't apologize for who you are. Wear it, own it, put it out there in your class. If there's something else going on in your class, if you're taking jam sessions, if you're watching your Zen volumes, if you're going to trainings, you're gonna fix that.
Oh yeah, totally. That's like, you know, we all do it. We have songs we've been doing for a while, class favorites, you bring them back, and then that one day you do it, you just forget the choreo.
Oh, heavens.
You're halfway, you may be doing it, the steps the third time in the song, and all of a sudden it's just gone. You're like, what am I supposed to do here? I just did it twice, but what am I doing? And that's when you see your front row. And even though you mess up, you're like, I was testing you.
Yes.
She's got it right there. Why y'all not watching her? Why are you watching me?
Love the
play it
front row.
off. Play it off.
They're like cue cards.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They'll remind you when you did something wrong. They'll stop like, what is that? So you have, in doing this so long, you've worked with a lot of your peers. Is there anybody that you haven't worked with that you would love to do something with?
There are so many international Zesses now, and I don't really get to see them very often. So honestly, yeah, there's actually a really large number of people that I haven't gotten to work with yet. And so...
Is there anybody who's done a Zen volume that you're just like in love with? You're like, oh, I love him, I love her, whatever.
Like most people, yeah. Every time a new Zen volume comes out, I am impressed by where we're going as a company and the kind of instructors that we're putting out. being at one of the first trainings and seeing Beto and who he was there, and he was so charismatic and so wonderful, and how Zumba has changed, and how Zest has come out with new skills and new personalities and different styles that in some way eclipse some of the things that Beto does. Never him entirely, but they do things that I never would have thought of or that I find shining examples.
Yeah.
And I'm just always so excited to watch that. And it's sort of like my chance to visit them even when I can't get to them.
Yeah. Yeah, my current one right now is Marcy Benavides. It's just cueing on crack. It's like if you miss that cue,
And
you're
she
obviously
puts-
blind.
She puts that fitness in her Zen.
She puts that
Right?
fitness
It's in there. It's 70% dance, 30% muscle, 70% dance, 30% fitness, 70% cardio, 30% muscle toning. And we get so focused on the dance that we forget this is a fitness class with muscle work in it.
Oh yeah.
And it's so important to have it in there.
Totally. Hey guys, this is Barbara Klontz. You've heard from her. Go to jam sessions, go to pro skills. These two things will make you such a better instructor you won't even believe. It sinks in subconsciously. People will notice and you will go up many levels. So if you get to convention, sign up for her sessions. If you can go to Colorado, if you're in that area, pop into her classes. If you're anywhere in the North Midwest, when she's doing training, she's always doing master classes up there. Follow her on Facebook. She shares everything on there. Go out in your social media, search for #Tallbog. You'll see her whole life pop up. So, see you guys soon. Thanks for watching, and always join the jam. Bye.